Hey everyone, it's Lexie. So in today's video I'll be sharing with you all of the movies, music, and TV shows that I watch and listen to this month. So I feel, especially with the quarantine, I just kind of consumed more content while I have been stuck at home. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started because I have quite a bit to talk about. Alrighty, so if you see me looking down, I have like everything written down here because like I said, there was a lot to talk about, but obviously starting out with music, I first have the Kelsea Ballerini album that came out on March 20th, which I was super excited about. It was something to look forward to during this quarantine, so I was really excited when it came out, and I liked her the few singles that she released, and I have a full review of this album coming out very soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But essentially I think what I really like about this album is that it's more personal. She wrote more of the songs on this one. It's kind of a little bit more grown up, I feel like, than her other ones. I still really enjoy her first two albums. They're probably some of my favorites of all time, but it's a little bit different, and there's like a few songs that I'm not the biggest fan of, but in general, overall, I really enjoy this album. My favorites are Love Me Like a Girl, Needy, Overshare, and LA. So the Dixie Chicks released a new song for the first time in like 13 years, I want to say 15 years, I don't remember exactly, called Gaslighter, and their new album comes out in May, and I am so excited. I grew up listening to the Dixie Chicks. I remember, when I think of like my childhood, or if we look at like our home videos when we were young, you can hear the Dixie Chicks playing in the background, so that's what I always associate with their music. It's just that childhood nostalgia I have. But I really love their music. I really think this song is great. It's a little bit different than what they do, but like what they've done in the past, but I really like it. I think we all have a gaslighter in our life, so it's something everyone can relate to. Next is the newest Little Big Town album, and I really love their song Better Man, which is written by Taylor Swift, but other than that, like, I've never been the biggest fan of their music. It wasn't really something that I gravitated towards, but for some reason I've just really been enjoying this album. I've just been listening to it. For the first half of the month it was like Little Big Town, and then after the new Kelsea Ballerini album came out, it's been like I'd switched over, but I really enjoy this album. I don't know what it is about this one, but I felt like, I don't know, I just really enjoy it. It's a little bit different, I feel like, compared to like their other stuff, so which I like about this. It's a little bit more, not like darker, but there's like a darker undertone, I feel, to a lot of these songs. So my favorites are River, Stars, Throw Your Heart Away, and Trouble with Forever, I think, are my favorites, so that is always good. And go and check it out, actually. Like I said, I wasn't a fan. Like, I hate the Pontoon song. Like, I hate it with a passion, but I really love this album. Next, this is kind of just a random song that I just found on iTunes, and it's called Daydream by the Aces. I think this song came out like years and years ago, but I just discovered it now, and it's just like a nice like pump up pop song. It's really fun. And then I have like two kind of mellowy songs. So we watched the Tom Hanks movie where he is Mr. Rogers, or Welcome to the Neighborhood, or It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, one of those ones, and I really liked the kind of soundtrack that went along with them. So one of the ones was Northern Sky by Nick Drake, and this is like a really kind of very acoustic kind of singer-songwriter song, and I really like some of the lyrics in there. That one's really good. Go and check that one out. Like I said, it's the opening song for the movie, and I was like, I like that song. And the other one that was featured in the movie is The Promise by Tracy Chapman, and I grew up listening to Tracy Chapman too, but for some reason I didn't remember this song, but I really love the guitar kind of like guitar pattern throughout this song as well. So that's another, like, these two songs are really good mellow ones. And kind of the last one here is I Love Yous by Hailee Steinfeld, and I have really enjoyed her music, the singles that she's released, and so I was really excited for this one. It's just another one that has been in repeat when I've just been at home on the computer. I've been kind of listening to that as well, and it's a good like pump up song with a good beat. So yeah. So moving on to TV shows, I feel like this was the month for TV shows for me. So The Good Doctor had its season finale at the end of this month, and I was pretty shocked with some of the endings. I'm not going to spoil it because in case you haven't seen it, but oh man, I watched it with my brother and we were just like, oh my goodness, because I was like spoiled with it, so I knew, but it was still like, even like watching it, I was like still shocked that it happened. So yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of this season. I didn't like how it focused more on Sean's relationship with Carly. Like, I didn't think they were a good match for each other, like a good pairing, but I really liked the character arcs for Morgan and Claire. Like, I really liked those arcs the most, I think. So I'm very curious to see what's going to happen in the next season, because I feel like everything was just kind of thrown up in the air with a lot of the characters. So I'll be very curious to see how that happens, like what happens next. So we've also been rewatching Parks and Recreation. I watched this a couple years ago, I think, yeah, in 2018. I watched it over within like a 6-week period in 2016 or 2018. Completely like blew through this series and I loved it. It's just fun, like going back into these like especially like with The Office and like Parks and Rec. There's just something like especially now it's going on, it's good to have a distraction and something that provides that like comfort. So that show has been kind of our go-to like comfort show, and we're almost done, so I'm like, what are we gonna watch next? So that's TBD at this point, but we've just been rewatching an old favorite. And then there's 2 new shows that one of them I finished and the other one I just started. So the first one was Fleabag, and this one has only 2 seasons and they're 6 episodes each. So you can get through it pretty quickly, hence why I got through it pretty quickly. And basically, this is a show that is very different from what I tend to gravitate towards when I watch like TV shows. A little bit more obscure in that sense, but it was really interesting. You guys are probably familiar with it. The second season won like a bunch of awards when it came out, but it's really different. It's almost satirical. I really like how it breaks the fourth wall with the main character. I wasn't the biggest fan of season 1. I think like it wasn't until like halfway, kind of towards the last maybe 2 episodes of season 1 that I really started to get into it, and I really love season 2. I think season 2 was so much better than season 1. So you can actually probably just start watching from like the 4th or 5th episode of season 1 and kind of go on from there. But I think it's really interesting. Like, the characters aren't likable in any aspect at all, which I think is very interesting, like an interesting standpoint. And like I said, I really like how she kind of breaks the fourth wall, and I really understand like the self-destructiveness of that character who's kind of grieving and has gone through another thing as well. So it was very interesting seeing that. Like, I felt like it was very different, and there were some parts that were funny, some parts that were really sad, and I don't know, it's just a really oddball show, but I watched it, I enjoyed it. A little bit different than what I tend to gravitate towards, but yeah, I still enjoyed it. And then another show that I've been watching is The Marvelous Miss Maisel. I think that's how you say it. I just watched the pilot episode the other day and I really liked it, actually. I heard great things about it. My friend, when we were in Chicago earlier this month, back in March before everything kind of was shut down, but basically she's like, you need to watch it, you need to watch it. So I'm like, okay, so that is my plan. So I watched it, I liked it. It was very different. You can tell it has that, like, it was from the creators of Gilmore Girls. Like, the dialogue is very, very quick and snappy. It was a lot more kind of mature than what I was expecting. But I'm very curious to see how this one goes. Like, this is a show again like everyone seems to love, so I've been really loving that as well. I definitely need to finish watching the season 6 of Schitt's Creek. I watched the first 2 episodes of season 2, but I have to watch them on like the Pop TV website and like log in with my cable provider, because it's not on like Hulu or anything like that. So I have to like physically be at a computer to watch it, so it's been taking me a while, but I'm like, I'm just gonna spend one weekend. I can get through, like, I can just watch them all and get them done. So I really like the show. I'm sad it's ending, but that will definitely be something I'll be watching in April. So let's move on to movies. Alrighty everyone, as always you can follow me at LexieDM14 on Letterboxd, so let's go ahead and get started. So we watched more TV shows this month than movies, but I ended up rewatching Frozen 2 with my parents this time, and I liked it just as much as I did. I've seen it 3 times now and I really love it. I think it's just a fun movie and it kind of helps you it distracts you from what's going on in the world right now, which is really nice. My parents really liked it too. Then on the 21st, we watched A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, which was the movie that I was talking about that I really liked the soundtrack to. The only thing I knew about Mr. Rogers was the episode that he did when he was turned into a cartoon on Arthur. But other than that, I wasn't really familiar with him, but I really enjoyed this movie. I thought Tom Hanks did a really good job, as always. I feel like, so I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I don't have that childhood nostalgia of Mr. Rogers, but I still nonetheless really enjoyed this movie, and it just makes you feel really happy. And then lastly, on the 27th, we watched Togo, which is a movie on Disney Plus, and it's about the dog basically it's basically the Balto story, but the dog that actually did all the work, Balto, got all the credit for it, even though he really did the last leg of the journey. But it was actually a good movie. If you're a dog lover, I think you'll really enjoy it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. In terms of scenery, it is beautiful and it is really good, so I highly recommend. It's a good family friendly movie too, so that is always a plus. But yeah, we only watched 3 movies this month, but nevertheless I still really enjoyed almost all of them actually, so that was always a good thing. So that's it guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this multimedia packed wrap up. I feel like this is probably the most I've had in a wrap up. There is just a lot going on music wise, TV show wise, movies, all that. So despite everything, the quarantine has been very good for the multimedia consumption. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below what some of your favorite things were from this month and what you've been watching and all that. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye guys.